anyone with a functioning ocular cortex can see that the gaming industry is imploding in on itself like our economy after 3 years of having the adults back in charge. With layoffs and self-imposed failures aplenty, apparently the industry decided that the best way to sell the gaming public on a title was to be open adversarial to said public in every possible way. You need look no further for an example than the ongoing Helldivers 2 debacle, where the devs, despite their protestations to the contrary, have been taking a sledgehammer to both their game and their community. First, they sold a game with a PSN requirement that would come into effect after several months from release, thus making refunds for said game impossible. But that's no big deal. After all, PSN accounts are free. There's just one small problem. The PlayStation Network is excluded from quite a few countries, and thus the people who brought the game in said countries basically paid for a $40 rental. And that was just the beginning of their troubles, as the mods on the official Discord had some less than customer-friendly opinions, which they felt free to force upon everyone else with wild abandon, and worse still, the company backed them in doing so until the backlash was so great that they had no choice but to yeet some of the worst offenders. But all of this might have been at least somewhat ameliorated if they had at least kept the game fun. But they seem to take a perverse delight in nerfing every single weapon that was actually useful, and treating the fanbase like criminals for having fun while not fixing the actual bugs and problems with the game. This has led to Helldivers 2 losing a significant proportion of their player base, and these anti-customer practices continue right up to the latest patch, where the flamethrower, one of the last decent anti-terminid weapons, was nerfed to being practically redundant with 3 or 4 other tertiary weapons. And this attitude is not reserved for Arrowhead Studios. The general disdain for the audience can be seen across the industry, from Call of Duty banning people for naughty words that might hurt someone's feelings, or Bethesda's lead writer's vocal utter disgust with the player base. This is not a winning strategy for anyone attempting to court a customer base, as anyone who's worked a job in retail can tell you, and yet the gaming industry seems hell-bent upon following it off the cliff. Perhaps it's just me getting jaded, but I look at a modern AAA release with the same trepidation one has when your drunk aunt attempts to propose a toast at Thanksgiving. You know that nothing good will come out of it, and also that trying to stop it will be an utterly thankless, fruitless endeavor. However, to end all of this on a slightly more positive note, there are studios who still remember who cuts their checks, and who try not to piss off their audience at every given opportunity, who do their best to listen to their audience and try to react in a manner that is understanding of their customers and their customers' wishes. And because of this, they have a customer base that is going to continue to support them long into the future. And thankfully, as with most issues involving egos and stupidity, it's self-correcting. Remember, Volition wasn't a shit-canning, ladies and gentlemen. It was a restructuring of corporate priorities based upon prior performance. But tell me what you think down below. This has been Pete, the Heretical Nerd, signing off.